Good morning. Motobucks in the morning.
Welcome back, everyone.
Today we're going to talk about reserves, what a reserve is, and basically how to use a reserve or not use a reserve.
When to use one.
When do you think we should use a reserve?
Well, for those of you who haven't been on, bought something from an auction before, a reserve, basically is the lowest amount that you would accept for a vehicle. So with Motobucks, we are a public auction. So when you post your car on there, you can choose whether you want to have basically a minimum price that will start the bidding, which is called reserve price. And I guess the main reason that you want to use a reserve is just to protect yourself from selling the car too cheap, right?
Yeah. This is also an online auction, so maybe you're doing stuff. So when you're doing stuff, this is something of a hands-off approach to, a trigger. So you can rest assured that your car is not going to sell for under that price, and then you don't have to worry too much about it. But typically on any auction, or most auctions, you're going to have a reserve price, and you know that the person's serious when they do not have a reserve price.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't use a reserve at all, it's called a no reserve auction. Then you're basically saying, you are willing to take the highest bid on the car, no matter what that number is. And as scary as that might seem sometimes, it really gets people bidding on the stuff. So, once your reserve is met on a regular auction, that's when people really start to bid, because they know that if they're the highest bidder, they will win that car. And I think that, knowing how to place the reserve is important, because we've had too many people, thinking their cars are, not at trade-in value. I mean, people have to understand the cash for cars market is around trade-in value, I would say, right?
Trade-in value, absolutely. So it's trade-in or cash now value for your car. You don't want to put a reserve that's too high either, because what's going to happen is you're going to keep your car. So especially in auctions where, like ours, where we're just trying to get rid of the vehicles, you don't want to put your reserves too high, because what it does is it takes you out of the market. And to get in the market, we urge people to make some phone calls around, see the highest bid that they could possibly get on the street, and then set their reserve at that price, so they know that they have that to fall back on, even if their car doesn't get any kind of higher bids on it. But typically, if your reserve is very low, you get higher bids. I know that's strange, but it's true. And also, that's why we start the auctions out at a really low amount, because typically if you start them at too high of an amount, it still distracts people and detracts people. So for the reserve price, you want to go on the KBB, look at what your car is worth in trade-in value. So this is what CarMax or whatever would pay for your car if it was running and driving. And then say, hey, look, my car has a blown head gasket, or my car has a broken wheel, or I just don't want it anymore, maybe. So you have to compensate for what's wrong with your car on top of that. So say your value was like, whatever, $1,200 or $2,000 for KBB, and you had some problem, maybe it was a timing belt issue. Those things are probably about $400 or $500, and so you want to take double that off your car, just because that people are buying these cars. They have to put some work and labor into them. So pricing them is very huge.
And we got somebody asking what KBB. KBB is Kelley Blue Book, and you can find kbb.com. That's where you can get the the correct value for your car, and it's one of the most trusted authorities for finding comparable car sales in your local market. So they're going to tell you about what people are willing to pay for trade-in price. And another thing, just to touch on too, the fact that with the junk cars, you know, what Ray's talking about is once you have, you know, something wrong, like your head gasket, depending on the year of your car, you know, your car might be basically considered junk at that point. Sometimes it gets to the point where, you know, people that are buying cars don't want to recover it, so it does end up going to the junkyard. And if your car is broken like that and it does go, you know, to the junkyard, or you're about to, they may pay you $150, and that's the point that we're trying to get across is your car is only worth $150. You need to come to that reality and maybe place your reserve at the $150 mark. That way, if somebody bids 200 or 250, they're going to win the car, and you're going to get more money.
Your car magically isn't worth, you know, 3 times more than it is just because you want it to be. I think that's a big thing too, and it's something that Dave and I have experienced, where we're just holding on to a car, hoping that it's going to gain value or something, and it just doesn't. So, you know, you got to come to the reality of what your car's worth, and so that, you know, we ask you to do some research. Also, reach out to us. We'll tell you what your car's worth. We'll help you, you know, pick your reserve and that sort of thing by knowing the market very, very well. And then when you come to terms with that, you can set the right reserve price. And then also the same for the steal the deal price. So if you want a car and you want it to be gone really fast, say the most offers you had was $400, you know, for the buy it now price, maybe put $500 if you want to make a little bit more.
Yeah, that's true.
Typically, if you call every car buyer in a city and you get a certain number, that's pretty much what your car's worth to all those types of people. But the people that are using them for parts and maybe flipping them and that kind of stuff might be worth a little bit more to them because they're not privy to all those ones that come in over the phones. Then maybe you get another $100, $150 for the car. Maybe it's more, but typically it's going to be pretty close to that number. So if you want it to be gone really fast, you put on the steal the deal, which is a buy it now price, and maybe that thing goes very quickly. So the reserve price and the buy it now price, or the steal the deal price, are tools for you to get rid of these cars faster, and then also to protect yourself, like a stop loss is what I would call a reserve. So you know, whoop, this is where the bidding's actually going to really start as far as they can buy the car.
Yeah, and also too, you know, not all cars are junk that are sold on Motobucks. So what Ray was talking about with the Kelly Blue Book and the trade-in values, you see, what people need to understand is when you're selling your car on Motobucks, you know, you're not necessarily, you may get, you know, private party value, or you may get retail, but the concept is to sell your vehicle quickly. And so you need to think in terms of more of the trade-in realistic value to get cash now, because if you went and you bought another car and you were offered a trade-in price from the dealership that you bought the car from, you may be able to get a little bit more than what the dealer is going to offer you by putting it on Motobucks, but don't think that you're going to get top dollar, you know, at an auction with sight unseen cars like this. It's more for people that are willing to take that gamble and reap the rewards.
And not be taking your car anywhere or having to tow it anywhere. You can just consider simply auction it right from wherever the car is, which is a huge benefit because a lot of the times they're giving you less money for your car if they have to come and pick it up. There's only a handful of people that are doing that as far as the companies go, and so this is just an easier hands-off approach to getting rid of a car that you just don't really even want to deal with anymore. You just want it to be gone.
And the same thing applies. So, you know, using a reserve in this auction, it's, you know, going to be just the same for any auction setting. So if you're not horribly familiar with car auctions or auctions of, you know, regular household items, the reserve is you know, going to be the minimum that you accept, and it allows you to kind of set it and walk away. Now, the one thing that does set Motobucks apart from a lot of basically every other option in selling your car is if your reserve is not met, but you as the seller decide that the current bid on the car is acceptable to you, there's a simple way that you can log in, go onto your listing page, and you can just accept the current offer at any time. So we do this because, you know, to make it quicker and kind of empower the seller a little bit more, because we know the seller is the one that just wants it done fast, and, you know, they may put it on for a 5-day auction, but, you know, by day number 2 or day number 1, they get the price and offer that they're willing to accept. You don't have to wait for the auction to end. You can just hit that accept offer button on Motobucks, and you'll be able to basically just
sell it now.
Take it.
So instead of just having a buy it now button, we have a sell it now button. So the buyers can buy it now or steal the deal really quickly, and the sellers, you guys who are selling your cars, and ladies, you can hit another button if you're tired of waiting for the auction to end and you're satisfied with the money that they're giving you. You can hit it, bam, and it's sold. And so there's no other auction that I know of that has that, and it makes it a little bit easier on our side.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, so that gives you a lot more power. So, and another thing, you know, that we've talked about, we get a lot of phone calls and people that want to sell their cars quickly. So
call me.
We've been doing that for a while, and you know, it's just nice to have an extra avenue to put your car up. I mean, we're going to ask you for pictures. Any place you're going to go to is going to ask you for pictures of the car. They're going to want to know what's wrong with it. So what we recommend is you can list your car on Motobucks before you start calling around, and you know, and you can even tell the car buyers, hey, I have an open auction. It's a personal auction for your vehicle in your driveway, and you tell the car buyers that you're speaking to, hey, I'm not looking for much.
Give them the link.
Yeah.
Send them the link, and then that way they can check it out. You don't have to tell the story 5 times, 10 times, or when you're trying to sell a car that you don't want anymore.
Yeah. So, and it gives you a controlled bidding environment to where, you know, you don't have to accept the first offer. So somebody might offer $150, and you tell them, okay, that, you know, I may accept that. Place your bid on my listing page on Motobucks for $150, and I'll consider it. And, you know, like I said, you can sell it now. You got that sell it now option, and it just allows you to make some more phone calls, try to contact some more people, and see if you can't, you know, get a little more excitement for your site. And that's just your self-promotion of your own auction. You know, we do a lot of promoting as well.
We do. Dave does. Wow.
We do a lot of promotion.
Trying to push your cars and get them to sell really fast.
It might be why you're watching us now. So anyway, on that note, I think we're about wrapped up for today. But yeah, that's why you would want to use a reserve, and you know, that's kind of the main reason behind it, is to protect yourself from selling your car too cheap.
For sure. And if you have any other questions, please leave them below, or you can always call our number, and we will answer any question, but most specifically any car question that you could possibly have. And if you stump me, I will definitely diligently look for the answer and get your return back quickly.
That's right. And if you haven't yet, make sure you like our Facebook page. We do this live broadcast every Monday at 9 a.m. So if you have any car questions, jump on in, and we'd love to hear from you.